Hi everyone, hello. Welcome to last video of human health and disease. Now in this video we will be talking about AIDS. Okay, now very common disease, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This is caused by a virus known as HIV virus, that is human immunodeficiency virus. Now by the name itself you might get the idea that this virus is doing something with your immune system. It is affecting your immune system. It is causing a deficiency of immune cells, immunodeficiency. That is, your WBCs are seriously affected by this virus. This virus attacks your WBCs basically. The HIV is a retrovirus. Okay, retrovirus means its DNA is RNA. Sorry, its genetic material is RNA. DNA is RNA, no. Its genetic material is RNA. Okay, which will infect the helper T cells. Okay, remember in the previous video when we were talking about immune cells, T cells, B cells, cytotoxic T cells, helper T cells. So helper T cells, which play a very important role in eliciting your immune response, playing a very important role in killing away with the specific pathogen. So they go and affect the helper T cells itself. So what happens in this case? They will disable the body's adaptive immune response. So your acquired immune system is very much affected by this HIV virus. Okay, and what happens once your immune cell, that is your T cells, are not capable of fighting the immune response, you're not capable of fighting diseases. What happens is that you can easily acquire multiple diseases. So you acquire, the individual acquires multiple diseases, and then multiple syndrome, multiple symptoms, multiple infection happen, and because of this, the full-blown AIDS happened. That is why it is known as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Syndrome is basically a collective of multiple diseases or infections. Okay, so it causes a variety of symptoms and infections, which is known as collectively known as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Okay, you might have studied this structure of virus in 10th standard also. You have to do the same in a year also. So we can just quickly go through this structure of the HIV virus. This is how an HIV virus look like. This is the RNA, that is a genetic material of the virus, which integrates into the cell. These you see markers over here, GP41, transmembrane glycoprotein, MHC proteins. These are markers which will help in attaching of the virus to the T cells. Okay, they will help in providing an attachment to the normal cells, host cells of the individual. Okay, yes. These are the enzymes which will help in multiplication of the genome once they are inside the host cell. Okay, so this is how the virus of the HIV looks like, circular in nature. In fact, basically the main target of the HIV virus is your helper T cell. Okay, so helper T cell will produce. So once the virus hijacks the T cells, now the T cells will do what? They will multiply and they will make proteins required for viruses. So the virus will hijack the T cells and they will direct the T cell to produce more and more viruses. And that is how, if you see, before infection, how the HIV progresses. Before infection, these are your WBCs. Once the virus infects the WBC, that is your T cell basically, so weeks to months, it will cause the T cells to make more and more virus particles. Okay, so you see over a period of year how the virus has increased. So it is also a kind of a silent disease, which keeps on accumulating. The virus slowly, steadily keeps on accumulating over months and years. Yes. So at first, an individual is able to stay ahead of the virus by producing enough helper T cells. Then gradually and steadily, the count will rise and the helper T cells will drop. Okay. So after slowly and steadily, the HIV count, the virus count will increase and automatically, as you see this picture, initially the T helper cells were more, virus was less. Slowly and steadily, your helper cells are very less, the counts drop and the virus counts has increased. Okay. And then affected patients become susceptible to opportunistic infection. Means basically what? When more viruses are there and less amount of T cells are there, what will happen? The immune cells are less, so the individual will get easily attract simple or easily attract common diseases like common cold, pneumonia. All these diseases will be very easily, attacking that particular affected patient. So that is what I mean by the affected individual will become very susceptible, very acceptable to the opportunistic infections. So characteristics of an AIDS diagnosis will include blood test and all the molecular techniques, PCR, etc., to see the viral load in the blood sample. HIV can be transmitted through exchange of body fluids. This we are commonly aware of. Okay, blood transfusion, breastfeeding. Uh, okay, a small minority of the people are immune to HIV infection because they lack the CD4 receptor on the TH cells that HIV requires for attachment. So there are very few people which cannot have HIV virus infection because they do not have the receptor onto which the virus attacks. The virus attaches. So the receptor is lacking, hence the virus cannot attach to the TH cell via the CD4 receptor, and hence the individual will not get HIV virus. Hence, it is immune to the HIV virus. So, HIV is a global issue, but it is usually in very poor nations with poor education and health system. Prevention can be educating people about AIDS, avoiding sexual contact with infected individuals, using disposable syringes and needles because if blood, any person's blood which who's having AIDS comes in contact with another healthy person, it can lead to spreading of the disease. Then making blood banks safe from HIV, controlling drug abuse, etc. Diagnosis include this test, which is known as ELISA test, which is an enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay. It is the full form of the test. This test basically uh, tests the blood sample if it is having the antibody antigens of the virus. Okay, and then treatment will involve antiviral drugs, which are not fully effective, but to some extent it will help in suppressing the symptoms and preventing the multiplication of the virus to some extent. Okay, so you just need to know the name of the diagnostic test and the treatment like antiviral drug, etc. Okay, so that's all with respect to the AIDS part of it. Yes. Now, the remaining part of your chapter, okay, has topics like adolescence, mental health and adolescence, what is addiction, what is drug abuse. This is very simple and straightforward, like information based, fact based. So you're going to read through the topics. This is all these remaining topics of this chapter is basically for self study. It is more like general study. Okay, and if you have any difficulty understanding anything, you can definitely reach out to me. Okay, so with this, we end with our chapter, Human Health and Disease. Thank